Hello, listeners. Welcome to episode 1 of this listening series. I'll be doing some sketching and talking. Maybe you can sketch along with me. Now, let's get to it. In 1798, doctors at Versailles Hospital admitted a patient presenting with weakness, exudative diarrhea, and advanced tuberculosis. The patient claimed his severe condition was brought on by swallowing a golden fork and had come to the hospital to have it removed. However, the patient died shortly after arrival, bringing an unceremonious end to a life that was most unusual. Our story begins in Lyon, the east-central region of France, where in 1772 our subject was born. To history, he is known only as Tarrare. Having the appetite of several grown men, even as a small child, it was said that he could devour a quarter of a cow in a day. His food intake was so great that his parents could not sustain him, and as an adolescent he was forced to leave the family home. In his early years, on the streets, he found community among thieves and prostitutes, satisfying his appetite by stealing or begging for food. Eventually, he was hired as a novelty act by a traveling charlatan and would entertain audiences by eating corks, stones, and live animals. His performance skills must have been impressive, as in 1788 he found the means to relocate to Paris, where he gained a wider notoriety. In conjunction with his peculiar habits, his appearance was also notable. He only weighed about 100 pounds as he entered adulthood, his hair was unusually soft, his mouth unusually wide, and his teeth unusually stained. His lips were so thin as to be nearly invisible, and when not digesting food, his skin hung loose. He was reportedly hot to the touch, and in a constant state of perspiration. His body was odorous, with the smell becoming worse after eating. After his meals, a visible vapor would emanate from his skin. He suffered from chronic diarrhea, an evacuation that was said to be fetid beyond all conception. Tarrare joined the French Revolutionary Army around 1792, at the onset of the War of the First Coalition. He was understandably not satiated by typical military rations, and so had to scavenge for scraps. This reduction in food supply caused him to fall into a state of exhaustion, and he was admitted to the military hospital for treatment. There he underwent physiological experiments by the staff doctors, Corville and Percy, the latter of whom would be a presence for the remainder of his life. His capacity for eating was tested by the hospital staff on several occasions. In the first trial, he was fed 2 large meat pies, plates of grease and salt, and 4 gallons of milk, which caused him to promptly fall asleep. On another occasion, he was said to have consumed a live cat, along with snakes, lizards, and dogs. It should be noted that Dr. Percy himself never witnessed these trials, nor had he ever witnessed Tarrare eating to great excess personally. His reports all came from testimony of eyewitnesses. Tarrare was summoned once again to the battlefield after several months in the hospital, where the military command put his talent to work. It had occurred to them that Tarrare could be an effective spy. A plan was devised where he was to swallow a box containing a message, deliver it successfully, and the note could be fished out of his excrement in due course. And so an attempt was made for Tarrare to deliver a test message to an imprisoned French colonel captured by Prussian troops. Unfortunately, he was quickly apprehended and sent to the gallows for execution. At the last minute, he was released, suffering only a beating. Upon his return to France, Tarrare pleaded with Percy to help him in finding a cure for his condition. He was treated with laudanum, tobacco pills, and wine vinegar, but these treatments were ultimately ineffective. He could not bear any attempt to reduce his food intake, and would always resort to scavenging for offal and garbage in gutters and alleyways. He was caught multiple times in the hospital drinking blood from patients undergoing bloodletting, and in one instance attempted to eat the bodies in the morgue. He was eventually chased away from the hospital in 1794 after being accused of eating a 14-month-old baby that had recently gone missing from the premises. Tarrare's whereabouts in the next 4 years were largely unknown, but his name resurfaced in 1798 when a doctor from Versailles Hospital contacted Dr. Percy to notify him that one of his patients wished to see him. It is at this point that we return to the introduction to the story, for this is where Tarrare met his untimely end. Bedridden in the final stages of tuberculosis, Tarrare's rampage of insatiable mastication had finally ceased. His once fierce appetite was gone, and he died shortly upon his arrival at the hospital. The autopsy on his rapidly decomposing corpse revealed an abnormally wide gullet, liver, and gallbladder. His jaws opened up to reveal a broad canal through which his stomach, also enormous and covered in ulcers, could be seen. There has been no definitive medical cause to explain Tarrare. His story has but one source, the doctor who assisted him in his struggles, Pierre-Francois Percy, and even his report is comprised mainly of his medical notes, along with details of his spectacular eating taken from witness testimonials. Percy's notoriety in the field of military medicine is widely praised, and there is no reason to suspect he may have fabricated the story of our hungry friend. Percy himself had no personal relationship with Tarrare. Indeed, in his last days he described him as a lump of festering and purulent flesh. I am of the opinion that while there may be some fantastical exaggeration to the story in some parts, much of it is true. Testimonials can often be misleading, and when you have hundreds of years for a story to change hands and evolve, it is likely for some inaccuracies to bleed through in the official account. Did this character exist to the extent his legend reports? Were his recorded exploits all true? If so, will we ever see someone like him again? If we do, I would keep him away from my pets. If you have any thoughts of your own, listeners, please leave them in the comments below. Now, if you'll excuse me, I think I'll have a snack.